Do you ever wonder how great leaders in the community make things happen? When they encounter new, unexpected challenges like a pandemic, how do they continue to successfully make an impact? Welcome to That Sounds Terrific, the podcast that connects you with these amazing people. Get insights on what they do to meet their goals, find out how you can help them in their mission, and learn their methods so you can be more successful at what you do. Welcome to That Sounds Terrific with host Nick Koziol.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Joining me today is Robert Politzer. He's with GreenStreet Global, a really cool company and initiative that I just wanted to share with you and my audience. Welcome to the show, Robert. Thanks for being here.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. You're doing some really cool, neat things, and let's just get right into it. And can you tell me just a little bit about what GreenStreet Global is and what you do?
Yeah, GreenStreet Global is growing a network of innovative real estate innovation hubs with a mission of making it profitable to lower carbon emissions from commercial buildings. And to do that, we have created a vertically integrated solution that begins with cost-saving strategies. Best way in the door with commercial property owners is to start by saving them money. So we have a series of no-cost, cost-saving strategies. From there, it will lead into us starting to actually work on the building. We'll bring 100% financing, and we then perform what we call a zero net cost building upgrade, where the cost of the financing is less than the savings we bring by making the building more efficient and lowering the utility and operating costs. So we will work to lower utility costs, lower operating costs, and thus lower carbon emissions. And by virtue of doing that, we are, again, increasing the net operating income of the building, so the building will cash flow better. And also, when you increase net operating income, you also increase the value of the building. So we are affiliated with eXp Commercial. They're a global commercial real estate brokerage firm. And for those clients who want to fully optimize our program, the profitability of our program, they will allow us to sell their building at a higher price. We will then take those capital gains and work as the buyer's agent to find a new, bigger, better building, take those capital gains, invest it in that new building as a 1031 exchange. And then we will apply our building upgrade to the new building. And at the highest level, when we work with clients that have portfolios of buildings, we'll conduct all those upgrades, sell off some, reposition others. And then as we're doing that, we'll work to address all the growing ESG issues around real estate, especially for publicly traded companies. So that's our vertically integrated solution to simplify and streamline the process of building upgrades, building decarbonization that can be quite complex. We're creating a proprietary app, the first version of which will be out in about a week or two. And over time, we're going to be embedding and staying on the leading edge of AI capabilities. And so our app will be simplifying and streamlining all of our programs and processes. And then we also, the other component of our program is a vendor marketplace. It's very hard to find these new leading edge clean tech and prop tech vendors. So we already have a network of about 45 of these vendors. They're coming online every day. We're going to be researching, vetting, curating, bringing them on board, and creating a virtual vendor trade show to help to profile them locally and internationally.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of things going on, a lot of moving pieces. I mean, how did and just to you mentioned the app, and that'll be out in a couple of weeks, probably right when we were around launching this episode. It'll already be available, and we'll have definitely have links to that, so you can find that in the show notes. But there's a lot there, and how did this all kind of come about? How did the idea form?
This is the sum total of 25 years of my experience. I started the first green building company in New York City at the end of 1998, and evolved over time. We did, general contracting with a green building focus. Then we did consulting, we did brokerage, development, finance. So we have seen every aspect of commercial real estate, and thus, see it from a holistic perspective. There's lots and lots of players out there on a daily basis, a lot of players who are jumping into the building decarbonization field, if you will. and they're all kind of in their lane, and that's fine. We need that, but there's not one of those single players in their lane that can effectuate the entire process and program of a building upgrade to lower carbon emissions. It's inherently a holistic process. So by virtue of 25 years of experience, frankly, my experience, is what I brought all together into this program and into GreenStreet Global. And so it's just been a long process, frankly, and a evolutionary process, and an organic process. This is coming from the ground up, not coming from the top down.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, and it's really cool that you've had all these different experiences and you're able to kind of encompass all of them into one big program that does exactly what you're saying. So like, there's a lot of smaller companies or other companies that do specific things, but not the whole package. And I really like that concept. You can kind of get it all in one thing and get it done, right?
And it's remarkable what is happening, across in the globe around what is essentially a new clean tech age. We really have it's sort of a clean tech revolution of sorts, similar to the Industrial Revolution, where what can be done today is just absolutely remarkable. But everybody's playing in their own lane, in their own fractured marketplace. It's very hard to find these vendors. It's very hard to find all of the players, and so that's what we're doing. We're bringing together, we're curating and vetting the best and the brightest leading edge players to bring them into our innovation hubs for this one single mission of making it profitable to lower carbon emissions. That's our focused mission. So everything we're doing is all about that.
Very cool. Very cool. So like, we're in an age right now where there's still some sort of like, breaking out of the COVID thing. And now like people are returning back to work and some aren't. Like, have you seen a fluctuation in what you're trying to accomplish? Or have you seen maybe an uptick because people are trying to like, get more, green and carbon neutral within the buildings that they're moving into?
Well, first of all, most commercial property owners are living and working in the 20th century, not living and working in the 21st century. So they're not aware of a lot of these innovations that are available today. And their strategies, their value add strategies, their investment strategies are all about, increasing the size of the building, increasing the, usable square footage, and looking for properties where they could buy air rights, whatever. They've got their strategies, their value add strategies, but rarely do they include building decarbonization. And so I liken this to the 1980s when I first moved to New York and got involved with working with an environmental engineering firm when asbestos became a big deal. So like in the 1970s, same thing with lead paint. Building owners basically didn't bother with it. Then, lawsuits started up. All of a sudden, building owners found that if they had asbestos in their buildings, it would devalue their buildings, right? If they were going to sell their building, a savvy buyer would find out that there was asbestos, say, well, we're not going to offer you $10 million for your building. We're going to offer you $8.5 million because we're estimating it's going to cost $500,000, right? That's what's starting to happen with carbon emissions. With excess carbon emissions, it's a liability. And so commercial property owners are most of them, except for the high-level sophisticated groups, are just beginning to wrap their arms around this growing liability and what they're going to do about it.
So part of what you're doing is like, in kind of like what I'm trying to do is educating, right? And letting people know that this exists and how important it is and where, it's going to help their bottom line in the future, right? So what are the types of clients that you're getting in front of, and what are the kind of strategies that you're using to make sure that people are aware that this is going to become even a bigger liability in the future?
We have a very strong ongoing social media campaign. We started offering an introductory offer to prospective new clients right now, we're doing it to like family and friends of my director of business development. We're offering it for $99, which is just, you can't do anything for $99 in commercial real estate.
Yeah.
And what that introductory offer includes is a no-cost utility audit on 6 different utilities: gas, electric, water, sewer, waste, telecom, plus all the credit card accounts. We work with a company that has their own auditors. They do this nationwide. When they find savings, which they do 70% of the time, they share the savings 50-50 with the owner for 24 months, after which time all the savings goes to the owner. We work with an energy brokerage firm. New York State is a deregulated energy state. So clients, building owners, can go to a wholesale marketplace through an energy brokerage firm and get their gas and electricity service contracts bid on competitively. A lot of building owners just go right to Con Edison and get, sign up, and they don't understand that Con Edison then is lining them up with one of their suppliers who's not going to be the lowest cost supplier, right? So there's money on the table there, so we'll offer that. And we also have in New York City, we've got one of our vendors who specializes in water savings. Water is a big pain point for a lot of buildings. We can definitely almost always bring savings for water. And on top of that, we're doing an ongoing weekly roundtable series by invitation only. So for those clients who sign up, they can be coming in on a weekly basis to be getting all this information and updates. So we're offering that for $99. That's one of the things we're doing. And we've got other initiatives as well.
Sure, that sounds amazing. That's a really good deal.
It's a very, very good deal. It's going to be $4.99,
in the
probably
future.
a month or two. But right now,
it's the family and friends discount.
Family and friends discount. That's right.
Very, very cool. Yeah. So what's the kind of, what are kind of the companies or the buildings that you're really focusing on? Like, what are your, the cream of the crop, bread and butter?
So for us, with regards to our building upgrade program, it works best with larger commercial properties where the owner is the operator of the building, and the owner is 100% responsible for all the utility costs, which tend to be very high. So that's going to be hotels, assisted living, grocery, industrial, owner-operated industrial facilities, any property where there's high utility costs, because then there's always all kinds of opportunities to save these clients money.
Right. No, I love the saving the money thing. And so I think that's so important. And then while saving the money, you're also saving, the environment and making it a little bit more hospitable for all, right?
Listen, I was just on a call. I said, listen, guys, so I'll say this in confidence. I am passionate about lowering carbon emissions. I'm a former science teacher, biology teacher. I know, and I'm an oddball in commercial real estate. I know that the thousands of climate scientists around the world are absolutely correct that humanity is in the midst of a climate crisis, probably the greatest existential crisis and threat to human civilization ever. That this decade is the decade we have to turn this ship around and get it moving towards a much lower carbon, much more sustainable future. We've got this decade to do it. So that's what I want to do. That's not where my clients are at. And so I had to work for 20 some years to basically, turn this mandate of lowering carbon emissions on its head and make it into a great business opportunity.
Yeah.
And so that's what we've done with it.
Yeah, make cost savings. That's going to light up people's eyes, and they're going to be like, I want that. And, even if they don't really care about the green part, they're saving money, and a lot of people care about that more than the environment right now, which is unfortunate. And if you want me to edit that part out so people don't hear that opinion, let me know. Otherwise,
that's it's fine. I don't. That doesn't get in the way. So I was just on a call earlier today with a property manager who apparently is more on the right. So I mentioned what the air quality issue we've had recently, right?
Yeah.
Which comes from these wildfires in Canada, right?
Yes.
Well, if you do some research, you find that these wildfires, these are of historic proportions,
Right.
and they're very early. And this isn't just happening in Canada, this is happening all over the world. So to me, I looked at that and it's like, if you want the most glaring, in your face, indication of this climate crisis, that was it, right?
Right.
And this guy said, well, yeah, but as a matter of fact, it's really it's really what's the way they're doing their tree management and all that. In other words, climate denial. And I said
Right.
to him, you're right, climate change is not causing it, it's accelerating, it's intensifying.
Yeah.
What's happening. That's why I don't even like the word, I don't like climate change. Because
Right.
yeah, climate changes, everything changes. Yeah. We're not talking about change, we're talking about rapid change. We're talking about
Right.
intensification. That's the
Yeah.
problem. So it's
Yeah.
but again, I don't even when I'm talking to clients, and I reference this, local law 97 in New York and these other, carbon emission reduction laws. What I advise is just use those as motivation to kind of open up your mind to what's available today to upgrade your buildings and understand that this is a great business opportunity. That's the way I talk to our clients about it. I
Yeah.
don't talk like you got to save the world with your project and you got to dip in your pockets and spend all this money to do that. That's the last thing that's going to resonate for these people.
Yeah. It's not going to convince them, but it's a nice byproduct of what you're doing, and it's sort of sneaky. I love it.
It's very, as a matter of fact, it is kind of sneaky.
So,
It's intended to be sneaky because I want to cut carbon emissions. And, listen, global carbon emissions from commercial buildings are on the order of 40%.
yeah.
So if we don't do major reduction from commercial buildings, we're not gonna be able to get the kind of reductions in carbon that we need.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And, I've worked on college campuses most of my life, and everything is like, green, gold certified and platinum certified buildings. That's all they want right now on on the campuses. And I do want that for New York City and the rest of the world, right? Because you're not only are you saving money for these businesses and you're saving the environment currently, but you're saving future things too, right? Because all of these things are minute, the supply and demand of all these building materials and looking for innovative ways to build things in the future, all important things. So, all right, so you got people interested, all right, you got potential clients, you got your bread and butter clients that you like to see, like, how do you work with them? How do you help them understand what the products are and the advantages, and what's the process, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, as I said, building decarbonization is a large effort. It has a lot of moving parts to it, and a lot of clients, I've learned, get overwhelmed if you hit them with the whole program. And so that's why we like to start with our cost saving strategies.
Right.
All we want is to take this first step to show you value, to show that, and so you can trust our professionalism. Right. And so as an example, we worked with a client who owns 5 buildings in Brooklyn and Queens. And it took us a long time. We're working through the reasons for that, but we got through doing our first phase, our cost saving strategies, along with our energy audits. And in our first phase, cost saving strategies, we found this client a program that will pay for new white reflective roof coatings on all 5 of his buildings for no out-of-pocket cost.
Very cool.
So we are estimating that's a savings of about $150,000 for this client. And every one of his buildings needs a new roof membrane, and he wants to sell these buildings. So if he sells these buildings as is, they're going to be lowered, the valuation will be lowered. So that's the first thing we brought them, $150,000. We brought them a cost segregation tax strategy, which would save about $125,000. It may or may not work for them since they want to sell the building sooner or rather than later. But then there's also a new updated 179D federal tax deduction, and it's an amazing program. So depending on how deeply you cut carbon emissions and make the building more efficient, the actual tax deduction will grow in size. So if you cut your energy usage by 25%, you get up to a $2.50 per square foot tax deduction. If you lower it to 50%, you get up to a $5 per square foot tax deduction.
Super
100,000
cool.
square foot building, that would be $500,000 tax deduction. So, so as part of our point about the profitability, when you add all these components together, along with our cost saving strategies and these tax deductions and government incentives and lowering operating costs of the building, right? That's how we make this. That's how we make this into a profitable venture.
That's awesome. I mean, and now I'm like, oh, we're about to like redo siding and windows. I'm like, how do we get the private home up to date with these things? I'm like, we're gonna be spending an arm and a leg.
There's
So
another program for single family and smaller scale. It's called 45L.
okay,
I believe it's up to $5,000 per home. You can check that out.
I
But
will have
it's
to.
all about energy efficiency. So if you
Yeah.
do, you change out your HVAC system. If you do you do insulation and air sealing, which by the way, I've done a lot of single family homes. The first place to start is to improve the performance of the shell of the house.
Right.
So because the more air that is heated or cooled that's leaving the house, the more you're paying. It's like your bathtub, you want to keep
Yeah.
your bath water warm, but it keeps flowing out. You got to keep
Yeah.
putting hot water in. The same kind of concept. So first do the building shell. Then usually if you get a tighter shell, you don't need as much heating and cooling and ventilation. You can lower the amount of equipment cost. That's a way to kind of do it holistically.
Yeah, no, great advice, and definitely something we're looking at doing. We definitely need that. So very cool. So we've talked a lot about a variety of different things. So this great program that you have going on. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want me to, that you definitely want to share with the audience about, Green Street Global or what you're doing? Maybe a program I haven't even asked about yet.
So the tools in our toolbox, the group, the individuals and the companies that actually do the actual work of our building upgrades are a series of vendors, solar companies, engineering firms, a whole array of vendors.
Sure.
And as I said, we're in like this clean tech age where there's all these amazing new vendors coming online, but it's very hard to find them.
Right.
Right. You got to be like in the field, well connected, where people are introducing you, or you go to a conference, or you meet or on LinkedIn. But it's not like you can go to an Amazon of clean tech and prop tech firms. So
Right.
we're creating a vendor marketplace
Very cool.
that's going to be working full time to be locating these vendors, vetting them, curating them, and helping them to be market ready, and then bringing them into our marketplace. And what we're very excited about is we're going to be developing a virtual vendor trade show.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so that they'll be able to get international coverage, not just local coverage. So that almost every decarbonization team around the world is going to be able to work with us with our vendor marketplace.
So how do the vendors get involved with that? Do they just reach out to you, or is there a...
Well, they reach out to me, or I'm introduced to them again, or we're going to be reaching out.
Okay.
There are these business accelerators
Right.
and innovation hubs, whatever. So we already are connected to there's a Danish innovation hub. There's an Israeli clean tech group. There's Germany. A lot of these countries have their own hubs, whatever. In New York City, there's a number of them. So we are going to be reaching out proactively and again, vetting these companies, making sure that they are what they claim to be, making sure that they are market ready. Some of them may have to go through a business accelerator to be ready to be working with us.
Right.
Then we're going to make them available through our vendor marketplace. So that, the kind of, if you will, I dare say, the Amazon of tech and prop tech firms. But
Yeah.
this marketplace is going to be I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, that's a very super innovative idea. I love it. Something that we need definitely, and that I haven't seen the Amazon of that. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, I really appreciate you being on the show, taking some time to kind of share a little bit about Green Street Global. I definitely want people, our audience, to reach out to you and connect with you. So all that contact information about you and your company and some of the initiatives you're doing is going to be in the show notes. So thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Nick. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you for joining us in another episode of That Sounds Terrific. Don't forget to check out the show notes and our website at thatsoundsterrific.com to find the contact information and the best ways to volunteer with the organizations that we feature. If you know someone that is doing terrific things and think they should be featured in a future episode, be sure to email us their name, contact info, and short description of what they're doing at thatsoundsterrific@gmail.com. If you like our show, give us a 5-star rating and give us some social media love by liking our Facebook page, That Sounds Terrific. Follow us on Twitter at Sounds Terrific 2 and Instagram at Sounds Terrific. We love hearing your feedback on how to make our show sound even more terrific. Till next time.